Function g is given by g is a function of x equals sine x minus cosine x and has a period of 2 pi. In order to define the inverse function of g, which of the following specifies a restricted domain for g and provides a rationale for why g is invertible on that domain? Well, first of all, you must remember that in order for something to have an inverse function, it must pass the horizontal line test. So in these type of questions, it's best to just put this into the calculator and see if it passes the horizontal line test. If it doesn't, then it does not have an inverse function. So if you look at choice A, this is the given domain. It's from 0 to pi. So that's what we're going to put as our window, 0 to pi. So first, let's go ahead and put this into the calculator, and keep in mind this is the function we're putting into y1. So in the calculator, we put in y1 sine x minus cosine x. And before we can even hit graph, we have to fix the window. So here, remember the window, we're going to change it into the domain 0 is less than equal to x is less than or equal to pi. So once you press window, this is going to be the screen, and we're going to put over here, we're going to put 0. And then for the x max, we're going to put pi. Now, when I put pi, I press second caret. And once I do that, this is what happens onto the screen. And then I don't change anything else. And then I hit graph. And when I do that, this is what the graph becomes. Now, keep in mind, once again, in order for it to have an inverse function, it has to pass the vertical line test. Now, if I were to draw a vertical line over here, you see it crosses 2 points. But to pass the horizontal, I'm sorry, I said vertical. I meant to say horizontal. It has to pass the horizontal line test. To pass the horizontal line test, you can only cross 1 point, but unfortunately here we crossed 2. So it did not pass the horizontal line test, so therefore choice A cannot work. So now let's go to choice B. And so going back to the problem, this did not work. And so choice B, we're going to use this domain, negative pi over 4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 3 pi over 4. Notice that in the other multiple choices, it's pretty much repeating A and B's domain. We just have to pay attention to the details. So same idea, you go back to y equals, and once you go, y equals is already set. We're going back to the window because now we're changing it for B's domain. So you press negative pi over 4. And like I said, when you put that in the calculator immediately puts this decimal. Then for the max, we put 3 pi over 4. And then you hit graph. I didn't change anything else. And when you do that, this is the graph that shows up. And once again, in order for it to be an inverse function, it has to pass the horizontal line test. And no matter where you draw the horizontal line, each time it only crosses 1 point. So it passed the horizontal line test, so it is an inverse function. So therefore, B is a good answer. Let's just check why the other choices are not good. Okay, so B is an answer. So if you go back to choice A, we already eliminated that this domain, it didn't work. It was not invertible. So immediately, it doesn't matter what this says. That's just not a choice. And now if you look at choice D, we have the same beginning as choice B, which was good. But then here it says, because the length of this interval is half the period. When you go back to the reading, the period was 2 pi. So half of 2 pi, that's pi, and that doesn't even make sense. It's not even the same thing. So this does not make sense. So therefore, we are definitely sure it is choice B.